say our opening affirmation, and I know that when the gentlemen are moderating, they change the bottom, but I'm going to let us do what it says this morning. So we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. And turn to someone. We honor the path that brought you here this morning. So let's give Rose a hand. She has a child today. Thank you, Rose. Rose has been our junior church director for quite a few months, but nobody's brought any children, so I'm so happy to see that Donna and Brian brought a little. What?
Grandson Kingston.
Kingston. Oh, that's a neat name. Wow. Yeah. All right, so you can look quickly through our weekly schedule. The one thing I really want to point out is the Wednesday night artists reception, but we'll get to it in a minute. Well, we'll get to it right now. A minute has passed. I want to, Michelle, did you want to say anything about the reception? Where are you? Okay, Doug.
I don't really have anything to say about it. Talked about it last week. It's at 5:30, but the artist's going to talk for an hour, and there's going to be light refreshments.
And she's going to be interviewed by another lady that's on the Eureka Street Art Festival committee, so that'll be neat. And we are going to be having refreshments. Olivia.
What day should we show up to do our square for the painting?
We're not painting them. We're putting them on this. So you know what? I might as well have Rick come up and talk about this.
Jump up there, Rick.
Doesn't it look neat? What did you guys feel when you drove in to the parking lot? It's like, wow. It's so amazing. And she said, she sent me a text when she was leaving and she said, oh, everything's blocked out. Well, when I drove up, it was so much more than I imagined in my head blocked out meant. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we get.
Okay, you've seen what's going on out there. Now you can be a part of it. So when you drive by, when you come in, you can go, I helped that happen. That's going to be there for decades to come. So it's $22 a square. You make out a check, and when you do it, you put in the memo for the mural, or you can donate online, and then you write your name here and write how many squares you bought, and then you get to initial which ones you want to be identified with. Man, the door, take a look at that door. She's got the sunrise right behind the door. She's just brilliant. So, now, something happened. I was talking with her. There's an overhang that you can't see. I'll turn it like this. You see it? But she was working, and that wasn't part of the original estimate or bid. But she looked up and she said, I really should do that too. Now, that's an extra 700 or so square feet that she isn't going to charge us for. But wouldn't it be nice to show her how prosperous we are and how abundant we are, and throw in some extra money to pay for that? So I'm going to mention it to the board and put it on the agenda. But in the meantime, you can help by buying out all the squares that we can see. And if you buy out all these squares, I promise I will go home and make a little overhang so you can look up. It'll flap down, okay? She's already worked on it. You can see the trees are working their way up there, yeah.
And there's going to be a cloud up there somewhere.
It's already there.
Oh, it's
it
already
is?
there?
Oh, I didn't look up.
Oh,
I'll have to
cool.
look up.
She already started.
Why don't we put mural extra when we want to contribute to the
Sure, good idea. Put mural extra on the memo when you want to contribute to the overhang. Squares are $22 each.
And will you take less?
Take anything.
I don't mean for a whole square, just if you wanna throw in.
We'll take anything,
Sure, yeah,
money-wise.
yeah. Now,
Just asking because.
What?
sure. Yeah, you can pay cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact,
And then just write on the
There's
50.
some envelopes in the pocket in front of you. In that little folder, there's some envelopes. Put your name and write,
The amount of cash and.
what it's for. Like if you decide to put a tithe and a donation, then put so much tithe, so much donation for painting, for mural. Great.
So just glance, yeah?
Anna just had an idea here, and I'm speaking on her behalf. We could put like a jar or something out here, that says, like a tip jar.
A tip jar,
And
yeah.
then if the other people come in, if people got extra change, because Anna just said she raised like $250 at a farmer's market, so what?
All ones.
All one?
Wow. Pretty good, okay. All right, we'll work on that for next Sunday, definitely.
Okay, this will be on, on the table.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. Louise?
Is there a date that, estimated date that she'll be done and then we'll need?
Yes,
the
she
money?
had 10 days, to draw, all the artists participating have 10 days to create the mural. So she will be finished by next Sunday.
So does that mean that all the money that is to be raised, or will it continue? From people in here, they might say, well,
You can continue,
yeah,
if you only get paid once a month and you want to do it for August or whatever, just as long as it says what it's for, Catherine and the people that make the deposits will make sure it goes in the right place. And it's, I'm hoping that we can give her something next Sunday, some extra, but I'm sure that if we say, oh, we're going to give you something, then let us have a week or two, she'll wait for it.
oh, yeah, she will.
All right, so I'm really excited about Wednesday night. I do know that we're going to have a cake, and maybe I'll bring some cookies or something, and there are some artist pieces that have been donated for prizes. So people are gonna get a little ticket, those that attend, and could win something from our artists. Rose went in the back already, but however, this is our Better Together social group. If anybody has any ideas, or they see an event that they think would be fun to go to in a group, please talk to Rose about it. And her phone number is in the weekly newsletter, so you don't have to try to write it down now. This is started today. Do you know, I thought all along, because it says text to join, that it was going to be a text every day. It's a phone call, which means that 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, my phone, I can put do not disturb until, so my phone is do not disturb until 7. So when I got up this morning, there was a message, and it was Dr. Michael Beckwith. A very good message. So those of you that are participating in that, wonderful. If you still want to, and you don't mind getting either a phone call or having a message waiting for you, in the morning, you can text join to that number, and that too is in the newsletter that comes out on Mondays. Now, this is something that I'm looking forward to. You know how you get those memories in Facebook, and they show you pictures and things that you had before? Well, I just recently, yesterday, saw pictures from the last time we did a outdoor barbecue. So it's going to be on the front lawn, and we're going to be having a very good time. We're having the Anna Hamilton Trio providing our music, so yeah. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So let's see, what else do we have on here? Oh, we did this one already. Michelle's handling the bookstore, all new books except for mine. Somebody asked me last week, why isn't yours on sale? Well, because in order for us to buy it, you have to buy like 50 of them. And that's kind of a lot. So we get it from Amazon. And we only get a couple at a time. So that's why we don't put it on sale. However, it's an excellent book. For those of you that don't know, it's a daily reader. So every day there's a little story from my life or something I've read or heard or whatever. Just, a couple paragraphs, and then there's a spiritual mind treatment. So it's good. We do need more food. Yeah, even ramen. Except I noticed there's 2 flats of ramen in there, so somebody must have snuck some in when I wasn't looking. But there are no more canned things. There's no more baby food. So we need everything, anything that's on that list, especially with pop-top cans, if possible. So, and there are some in the bottom drawer of the white dresser that the food is right by the food. There are some big bags, like a big bag of spaghetti, like huge bag of spaghetti, and some other things that we're not really allowed to break things up and put it in packages because we don't know what germs could go in while we're doing it. So if somebody wants to purchase one of those big bags of rice or noodles, etc., and you could give Catherine the whatever you want to purchase it for and take it away, and we'll use that money toward getting some more stuff. And we really appreciate, and I've spoken to a few people who are taking advantage of the food, that they are really appreciative of it. And they seem to know every single little pantry in Eureka. So, there's, we're sort of off the beaten path. And then the church up on Harris is off the beaten path, but yet it has one, and it's always empty too.
Are they going to start reviewing them on Yelp?
Are they gonna what?
Are they going to start reviewing them on Yelp?
Oh, these people have the best, yeah, right. That'd be funny. Anyway, but they're very appreciative. We're very appreciative as a community to be able to support our larger community in all the ways that we do. So, good thing. Announcements are finished. Doesn't that feel good when, Bev. They're not quite finished.
Quick plug for Bridge House. Please don't forget, if you haven't already made a little donation, either to the center or to me while I'm here. We are supporting Bridge House in backpacks. We have 11 children this year. And I have almost everything together for it. Just a small amount of things not purchased yet. We're going to have a backpack stuffing party on August 14th, which is a Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you can make it, please join us. It should be lots of fun. Anna?
Can you tell us the average cost of each backpack?
Oh, the backpacks were about, unstuffed. Oh, geez, I don't, $50?
Are you going to the dollar store?
I've done Dollar Store, I've done Walmart, I've done Amazon for things when I can buy bulk, water bottles and stuff like that, yeah. And I have lists of itemized what needs to go into the bags, age appropriate. They'll be on tables, and you guys can help me stuff them. Bridge House will be here, at the people, not the clients they have, but our liaisons to the Bridge House families will be here helping us stuff them, and then they will take everything with them when they go on the 14th. School starts on the 19th. Thank you.
All right. our freedom. Yay! This is the last Sunday for the theme of freedom. And let's give Scott a hand again because look at these amazing things he does. I love it. Wait till you see Augustus Power. Wait till you see the one he designed for that. It's going to be great. So we're going to jump right in by welcoming before I used to say the almost Reverend Karen Blakeley, but now I can say, there's no more almost before that anymore. Let's welcome up Reverend Karen Blakeley to do our moment. Wait, should I move it that way?
I don't know. There you go. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you.
Yes, it's good being here. Good to see all of your faces. So becoming reverend is actually a 3-part process, and I'm done with part 1 of 3. And so part 1 was actually where we got to walk in graduation, and part of that is answering the call to being a reverend. And for that, they gave each of us 5 minutes to say something. And I decided I wanted to write a poem. And so I was asked to read that today in lieu of our moment of peace. And so I'll read that and then take us into our moment of peace. I'm answering the call. It wasn't something I planned at all. But Spirit saw it another way. And I've learned enough to listen and say, okay. I'm scared and uncertain how my ministry will unfold, but grateful for the courage to take the next step and be bold. And so I stand before you today, trusting Spirit will show me the way. I'm answering the call. I've made my choice, and I vow to always listen to that inner voice, to trust where I cannot see, and know that Spirit speaks through me. I'm answering the call. I can't believe we've done it all. And yet the journey has just begun. This is going to be so much fun. So here we are at the beginning again, waiting for all of this to truly sink in. Yes, I've answered the call simply because I can't think of anything I'd rather do at all. And so I'll ask you to take a moment to just search your heart and your soul. What is it that is calling you? Where can you step in and answer the call? Be of service to our beautiful world. Please take this into the sacred silence.
My soul is overflowing with the power and presence of love. My soul that rests in knowing
And so we just lean into this rhythm of life, breathing in that love. For what we know is true is that there is only one. I call it God, we call it good. I call it by whatever name, for we know that it is that source and substance of all things. And I will call it love. For it is that love, that eternal substance that outpictures and manifests everything in this beautiful world. Oh, I call it good, I call it God. And I know that each one of us is a part of that we are each tiny drops of love sent forth to uplevel the vibration of this planet, to uplevel that degree of freedom and beauty. And so I call each one of us both a blessing and know that we are blessed. And I speak a word of blessing over our guest artists today and over our music and over our guest speaker, knowing that every word that is said reaches out to touch the hearts and the minds and the souls of everyone watching online or here in the sanctuary or listening at any time. For though Eureka is a small center, it touches around the globe. How glorious it is to know that expansion, that love truly goes out, finding all of those spaces that are in need and touching the hearts and the souls there as well. And so we just breathe into that good. So grateful for the power of love in our lives. And so I just cast this forth into the law. I let it go and let it be, knowing that sweet spirit always whispers, yes, my beloved ones, yes, yes, yes. And we know and affirm this together by saying together, and so it is.
My soul is overflowing with the power and presence of love. My soul's at rest in knowing I am enough.
Beautiful. And now it is my great pleasure to get to introduce our guest speaker for today. Reverend Mitch Austin was raised in the Science of Mind teaching. He is a licensed Center for Spiritual Living practitioner and became a reverend through the Emerson Theological Institute. See, I'm doing this all without paper, so I have to think really hard. But more than that, he is my beloved, and what I would like to tell all of you this morning about him is that he really is somebody who comes from love. He shares his message in that space of really just caring for every person that he meets. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and I haven't met anyone else who is just a more caring, loving person. And so it is an honor to be able to introduce him as our guest speaker today.
Let's give it up for Karen. Isn't she awesome? That was a great introduction. And I'm glad I wear my heart on my sleeve and you grabbed it. So thank you. So grateful to be back again with you on this beautiful Sunday morning. Thank you, Reverend Angelica, for having me back. So appreciate you as well. You know, I have to say, I just love this center. I love hearing all of your announcements. You know, normally people are like, oh, announcements, but you guys are doing some amazing things. And I just want to tell you how grateful I am and how much it opens my heart, all that you're reaching into the world. And you know, we're seeing, unfortunately, a lot of centers who have closed or who've went back to community centers, and you're thriving. So give yourself a hand. Beautiful, beautiful spiritual community. But, you know, it's getting interesting in the world, isn't it? A little heated out there, a little judgy. You know, anytime there's an election, there's a lot of opinions going on. Anybody feeling a little judgment out there? Yeah? You know, they say you should never judge a person until you walk a mile in their shoes. That way, you're a mile away and you have their shoes. Don't we need a little levity? So whenever I put together a talk, I look at a whole bunch of things. I'm online, I'm TikToking, I'm reading books. And I was listening to a podcast. And you ever listen to something like a song and it triggers some memory? It's exactly what happened for me. And the memory was back when I was becoming a practitioner and I was learning thoughts are things. You need to really pay attention to what you think and what you believe, and that's outpicturing, and that there's this mind stuff you can use to manifest. Felt really like a big responsibility when I was learning all this. And about that time, there was this question that popped up. I don't remember exactly where I saw it first. Maybe you've heard this question before. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Who's ever heard that question before? Right? And so I'm learning about the mind stuff, and I'm like, that's a big question. What am I going to pick? And I thought about it for days. You know, it just was sitting there in the background of my mind. And I thought, what would I choose if I knew I could not fail? And you want to know what I came up with? If I could get the whole world to choose faith over fear. Because fear is really at the root of all the bad behavior, isn't it? This idea that we got to defend, or we got to protect, or we got to attack. Every lower, slower vibration, I actually sat in contemplation of this, comes out of the root of fear. And you know what fear is to me? Fear is a symptom of disconnect from our higher power, right? Because when we understand that there's a connection, that we are part of this one mind, this one presence that loves us, that knows us, that goes out before us and prepares the way, how could we ever experience fear again? So I'd invite you, the next time you're faced with a fearful appearance of something, lean back into this senior partnership you have with the divine. Meditate, pray. And if you can't get through it yourself, buddy up. You have ministers and practitioners who will sit there with you and help you remember your connection to this power that loves us, protects us, and brings us along our journey. And, you know, I thought, well, why don't we choose faith over fear? What's at work? And it's this voice of the ego. You know that voice, that one that believes we are what we have, what we do, what others think of us, that we're this body and that we're separate from one another. That's a very vulnerable way to look at our position in the world if we believe those things, right? That's ego-based thinking. And that ego wants three things. It wants comfort, it wants control, and it wants acceptance. And it will give up comfort and acceptance for control, because what's the belief? If I could just change my neighbor, if I could just change my spouse or my in-laws or the thing out there, right? I remember when I bought into that thinking, that I am what I have and what people think of me, and I had to do the world's prescription for success. Anyone ever run up the ladder of success only to see it's on the wrong wall? I did that. And I had what I called my window dressing life. I was a community services superintendent. I was making 6 figures. I had a big house. I had a partner, had the right car. And when you looked at my life from the outside in, I had the prescription of success and happiness. But I was miserable. There was nothing in my life that reflected me. I felt lost. And it was a dirty little secret because I felt like, how can I be so miserable and have so much of what I'm told success is? You know, JFK says this, you know, about conformity. He says, conformity is the jailer of freedom and the enemy of growth. And I was jailed with the velvet handcuffs, you know, the one where I'm getting paid just enough to pay all the stuff off. And I knew I had to make a change. I was dying on the inside. And so I did. I went on a little journey to try and figure out, who am I? What do I want? What is being called forward in my life? And I discovered some things. I read a book, if any book people are out there, The Purpose of Your Life by Carol Adrian. Brilliant look at your life through the lens of spirit. And what I noticed was I was being set up. I was being set up to speak. I was being set up to teach. And that's what was knocking at my heart, but I wasn't listening. You ever know you get pebbles at the window? If you don't listen, you get a brick. I got a brick in the form of a health crisis, which I almost didn't survive. And in the 7 days that I was in the hospital, you get to think a lot. And I thought, how'd I get here? And I knew I wasn't living an authentic life. Well, why don't I leave? Well, I got to pay bills. Well, I realize a dead person doesn't pay bills very well. And, you know, if I lose the stuff, I could always get it back. So I left the job. And I went on a journey that brought me back to science of mind that I had been raised in. And on a journey to become a practitioner and give my gifts and to pray with people and support community. And I was alive in a way I didn't know was possible. Because I was willing to go beyond the thinking, the well-meaning thinking I was taught for success. I now had a life that matched who I really was versus what everyone was told me I should be happy with. You ever get the I should? You should be happy, you should be grateful. So what I realized in this little contemplation that I did, and what I want to talk about today, is that if we don't use our power, our most powerful tool we have to choose what we want for our life, you notice the world will just fill it in for you. You know, it'll tell you, you should have those shoes so you can get that person. You know, like they just keep throwing programming at us. And if we don't stop and take a minute to actually examine, is this really what I want to choose for my life? The danger is it'll just get programmed for us. You know, Ernest Holmes said, practically the whole human race is hypnotized because it thinks what someone else told it to think. And the trouble with that is much of it is down here, you know, in the subconscious, and it just kind of bubbles up every now and then. So, you know, I invite you to think about how often you challenge your choices or your thoughts around things. Because your mind ever lie to you? I know it's lied to me, right? It'll tell stories based around this programming. Have you ever said to yourself, they made me so mad? Anybody? I know I'm not alone. They made me so mad. Or they made me so sad. The truth is nobody can make us anything we don't agree to. This is the way Viktor Frankl put it. He said, between stimulus and response is a space, and in that space is a power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. In that space is our power to choose. And if we don't choose, what happens? We get a reaction. Something that just pops out. And that reaction often comes from the crazy brain. Anyone know this brain, the crazy brain? And if this opens, not good stuff comes out. You ever notice that? And you can't take it back. So taking that moment to ask yourself, what will I choose in this moment? You know, we got a lot of people pushing their agendas online, advocating. And what will I choose when someone comes to me with their agenda that doesn't match mine? Can I choose love? Can I choose peace? Can I choose unity even with people that are different from me? Now, that's where our work is. And so you might be wondering, well, how do I consciously choose and get past the programming of the world? What's something I can do? Well, I have this little phrase from the Bible. Was it just a metaphysical handbook? It got blown out of proportion, but it is. It has all the spiritual laws in there and some really good direction. And this one little phrase from the Bible that I want to unpack for you is this. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. So it starts with ask. We know what's our ask. What are we in the unseen imprinting to manifest in our world? And I would invite you to ask this way. What experience will I choose for my life? Notice I didn't say ask for what you want. Here, and you know why? Because we never want the thing for the thing. We never want the house or the car or the partner for the thing necessarily. We want it for how it will make us feel. So start with that God quality. I remember when I was in my window dressing life, I wanted a house with a pool. Actually, I wanted the pool and the house came with it. But I thought if I just had a house, I'd feel the sense of home. And then I owned the house and I felt jailed to the mortgage, to the repairs. It didn't bring me the love and the, if I'd started with the love and the peace and the joy, that's what would have shown up. So, you know, the world will say you got to have this, to do this, to be this, right? I got to have the house, right? To do house fun things, and I will be accepted. I will be loved. I will be home. That was what I thought was going to happen. But see, it's the reverse. If you're being love and you're doing loving things, you will always have love. Right? If you're being joy, you will do joyful things and you will always have joy. See, that's the real formula for the kingdom of heaven within. I think that's what Jesus meant when he was with the woman at the well. And he said, look, if you drink of those waters, the thinking of the world, I am what I have, what I do, you'll thirst again. Because when those things leave, everything leaves. But Jesus said, if you drink of my waters, right? Being love, being grace, being forgiveness, being service, you'll always have that. That's what he meant. And it aligns perfectly with spiritual principle. So the first is to ask. Ask for the experience you will choose for your life. And then the second is to seek. Go looking for it. And here's what I invite you to focus on. How will I choose to look for it? Will I look expecting to find it? Or will I look doubting that it's even possible? Right? Henry Ford said, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. And the same is true with how we look for our good. We actually have a piece of the brain called the reticular activating system that filters everything out except for what we expect to have happen. Have you ever said to yourself, I can't find my keys? Anyone? And they were right there? Your brain filtered out the keys because you just said you couldn't find them. It's a real biological event. I think that's why we need to look at how will we choose to go looking for things. I actually have clients I work with, and one of my favorite exercises that I have many of them do is to put on the eyes of love. I invite you to do this for a whole week. You're going to put on the eyes of love, and everywhere you go, you're going to look for loving acts. You're going to see people open doors. You're going to see people let you in at traffic. You're going to see people, you have one item, they're going to be like, go in front of me. For 1 week, Do this. It's life-changing. All the love that you will see in the world. And it helps us remember that it's there, because it's easy to forget when people are yelling at each other all the time, right? And judging each other. So the expectation as you look, as you seek. And the last is to knock, to take an action. Spirit knows we're serious when we take action, even if it's not the right action. How often do we get stuck at the door of action where we say, well, I don't know what to do. I don't have the right plan. Doesn't matter. You know, my dog Sammy was this big. She could open any door in the house. You want to know how she did it? She'd go right up to that door and stick her nose at the crack, and she'd see this magic hand come and open it. But isn't that real power? We've all got a magic hand. Even if we're doing the thing that doesn't get us there, it's going to redirect us. When we say yes and we move our feet. I remember when I heard the call to ministry, and I said, oh God, not that, please. I want to give up every Sunday. So I ignored it. And then I heard a talk by my mentor, and she said, look, in Science of Mind, you can have anything you want. Anything. We want you to have things. And then she said, but you can't be anyone you want to be. You can only be who you are. I went, oh. Then I said yes. And then the magic hand appeared. Talking opportunities, all kinds of doors started flying open for me because I said yes. And I didn't know how to make those doors open before. I took an action. And I signed up for ministerial school. Here's how Henry David Thoreau puts it. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with success unexpected in common hours. Any advancement, he didn't say the right advancement, he didn't say on purpose, on target, just any movement tells Spirit that you're serious. And when you do that movement with an expectation, like Sammy, she had every expectation that door would open, then you're in alignment. I had an experience of this because, I was raised Science of Mind. I'd come to my mother and say, Mom, I have a problem. And she'd say, well, if there's a will, there's a way. Or I'd say, I don't know how to do this. And she'd say, mind over matter. Like all these magical phrases. That's all I had to work with my whole life. But it worked. It worked. I remember I wanted to be a softball pitcher. And I was terrible at softball. I couldn't catch, I couldn't throw, I couldn't hit. I played left out, literally. I was on the bench. And I remember seeing this person in the middle of the field they called the pitcher. And I thought, that's me. I want to do that. So I asked, how do you do that? And they said, well, only the kid of the coach gets to be the pitcher. I said, well, that's a problem. My mom hates sports, and there's no one in my family who's going to coach. But no matter, you know what I did? I went out and got my cardboard box, paced off 40 feet, my 3 softballs, some of which went into the neighbor's yard, and I began. Now, it looked on the surface like it was impossible, but I just kept taking step after step, and that next year, I got on a team where the kid didn't want to pitch. And then the coach says, who pitches? I'd never pitched a game in my life, except in my head. And that small beginning, I began my pitching career that took me all the way to college scholarship, and a national championship. Wow. I didn't know how to do that when I was 13. See, big things have small and simple beginnings. So I want to ask you, what's been calling at your heart? What's knocking at your door? Maybe it's to go back to school. I just saw a post of a woman, 102, got her BA. Maybe it's to create a beautiful garden or start a business or write a book or look for love or be of service. What's knocking at your heart? Last week, Reverend Angelica said, we're here to make a splash. Karen's encouraging us to answer the call. All of these dominoes are falling. I didn't make that happen. This is for us. Something's calling to you. Don't let the programming of the world stop you, right? Because you know, when you hear it inside, you say, I'm too what? I'm too what? I'm too young. I'm too tired. I'm too old, right? Or maybe it's the other one. I'm not what enough? I'm not enough, right? Who am I to be so successful? Maybe it's imposter syndrome. That's the paradigm of the world, sneaking up into your internal dialogue and taking and stealing your ability to choose. See, you're the endless fountain of that joy, of that creativity, of that love. And the only way that joy, peace, creativity, and love will get here is through us. And that's our divine work. So I'm going to encourage you to choose what is really good and acceptable for you. For you. That's the seed of the divine planted within you to bring and express into the world. And be the good you want right now. Be the joy, be the peace, be the wholeness without anything out there changing. And watch it grow. And lastly, use your ability to ask, to seek, and to act with expectation that your good is on the way. I want to leave you with a little reading from tinybuddha.com. So good. Choice. Choice is the most powerful tool we have. Everything boils down to choice. We exist in a field of infinite possibilities. Every choice we make shuts an infinite number of doors and opens an infinite number of doors. At any point, we can change the direction of our lives by a simple choice. It's all in our hands, our hearts, and our minds. Blessed be. Choose well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Join me now in the affirmation. And that's our message. Choose it or lose it. Is there an affirmation also or no?
Yep, there'll be one.
Okay. We read it together? Yes, please read it with me. I am so grateful for knowing Spirit is always with me, always calling me to trust the creative flow of the universe. Spirit moves me forward. I follow joyfully. Let's take this message into prayer. As I go to that inner deep channel of the divine that lives within me in all things, I remember that there's only one life. Out picturing as many faces and places that Spirit is weaving its thread of wholeness, of healing, of connection, of unfolding, of evolution. No matter what it looks like to my human eye, I know that God, that good, that Spirit is all there truly is. And so I lean in with faith, with joyful expectancy, keeping the eyes to the horizon, knowing that Spirit's got a plan that's unfolding perfectly in and through and as all its creation. And so I speak my word now, knowing that every person in this room and online right now is fully, divinely directed, protected, uplifted, and celebrated. And so I just give thanks for this powerful time and community together. Community that shares, that cares, that loves, and that heals. And I give thanks for this beautiful center called Eureka, Centers for Spiritual Living, and all that bring it to life. And so I simply release the power of these words spoken now, joyfully, expectantly, and faithfully. Together we say, and so it is. Blessed be.
And Jackson is our musician this morning.
Oh.
was a little concerned that the song I'd chosen today would not have anything to do with the talk, but I was wrong. Singing to the world, it's time we let the Spirit come in. Let it come on in. I'm singing to the world, everybody's caught in the spin. Look at where we've been running around, year after year, blinded with pride, blinded with fear. But it's daybreak, if you wanna believe it can be daybreak. Ain't no time to grieve, said it's daybreak. If you'll only believe and let it shine, shine, shine all around the world. Singing to the world, what's the point in putting it down? There's so much love to share, I'm singing to the world. Don't you see it all comes around? The feelings everywhere, we've been closing our eyes day after day, covered in clouds, losing our way. But it's daybreak, if you wanna believe it can be daybreak. Ain't no time to grieve, said it's daybreak. If you'll only believe and let it shine, shine, shine all around the world. Yes, it's daybreak, daybreak. Can you feel it? It's daybreak, daybreak. Can you feel it? It's daybreak, daybreak. Can you feel it? It's daybreak, daybreak. Hey, but it's daybreak. If you wanna believe it can be daybreak. Ain't no time to grieve, said it's daybreak. If you'll only believe and let it shine, shine, shine all around the world. Come on and let it shine, shine, shine all around the world. Around the world, sing to the world.
Thank you, Jackson. That worked well. So now it is time for our giving section of our service. Oops, sorry. So let's say this offering together. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses the sender, all in it and beyond, and so it is. And the bowls are going around. Bless it if you're not going to put something in it. Bless it. Put love in it. And Zoomers, here's the address if you want to send us a check or go on our website and make a donation. So with a grateful heart, we bless the givers and the receivers. We know that we're participating in an amazing circulation of higher good, using this money as a symbol of it. So we honor each giver, and we honor our center as we use this money not only to promote our center, but to do good in our greater community. And we're grateful. We're so grateful. And so it is.
And so it is.
So, who would like a chance to read the community statement of inclusion this morning? Louise, thank you very much. Is that an inside joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. Together, we know our blessed community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Thank you. I'm done. I'm leaving it.
Would you stand now and join me in singing the peace song? Oops.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, love among all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. We know you're going to have a great week, and we'll see some of you Wednesday night.